You know how you're still awake at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning and you get sucked into some YouTube video that tells you that they know the next big thing? That was me. I got sucked in. And guess what? I just got my first order of graded VHS tapes back from IGS Investment Grading Services. VHS tape grading. It was quite the experience, and I know that there's a whole controversy out there about IGS. You know, I read on Reddit that there's a whole feud going on about the company shady, and they have a lot of shill bidding, and they're driving up the prices of VHS tapes. I know nothing about that, and I actually don't care. I mean, how do things get valuable, right? Somebody does something to make them valuable, maybe. I don't know. I'm not an expert in these things. And I should not really, bottom line, I should not have gotten involved in this VHS tape grading adventure, because all the videos I watch about eBay and flipping, they say know your niche, stick to your niche, do what you know. I don't know VHS tapes. I do know that gore and horror, you know, are pretty good sellers. I know that Jaws, the first edition, for some reason, is really valuable. But otherwise, you know, other than that, I don't know much about it. So I'm speaking as an amateur, a know-nothing, someone who's just gotten her first order back from IGS. And I want to share that experience with you and let you know how the whole thing went. So if you're thinking about using IGS for grading your VHS tapes, maybe you can learn something. Let's take a look at the tapes that I sent in. Okay, so you might have noticed I'm wearing gloves. The acrylic boxes that these came in are so pretty and pristine that I didn't want to risk getting fingerprints on them. The tapes come in this cardboard box, at least mine did, and I sent in 12 tapes altogether at the economy tier of $65 per tape. At the time, that really gave me pause for thought, but I was just like, you know, let's do it. Let's take a chance. Let's get in there. So when they come back, there are two other tiers. The mint tier is $85. The difference is in the amount of days of processing. On the economy tier, it takes them 120 days. At the mid tier, it takes them 45 days. And then they have an emergency tier of $215 that takes 5 days. And this is current prices, of course. If you're watching this 3 years from now, I'm sure prices will have gone up. So economy was $65 per tape, mid-tier is $85, and emergency is $215. And the big difference is just in the number of days of processing. I got mine back right at the 120-day mark at the economy tier level. So, you know, in that way, they have PSA beat. As you know, we send our stuff into PSA, and it's literally a year later, and we're still waiting. So I know that PSA has gotten their act together a lot better over there, but I'll give it to IGS on this one. They did meet the 120-day window. I got a giant box full of these boxes, and these things, these little wooden things here, I guess meant to give the box some stability. They're actually painters, rulers, and paint mixers. So that was a little odd. They do not seal the boxes with tape. See, the tape only goes to here. And the opening of the box is just easy to open. So I kind of like that. I hate having to you know, go through like the Get Smart set of doors to get to what I'm looking for. But the box just opens up like that. It comes in this paper cloth, you know, that material they use for disposable shopping bags, those ones that turn to shred into paper a year later. So that's what this is made out of. It looks pretty nice. The presentation is really pretty nice when you open the box. And then inside this bag, I'm going to move the box so we have a little elbow room here. Inside the bag is another bag. And it looks like a shoe bag, really, but it's a plastic bag, and they have it tied, just a little slip knot at the top. So let's see, there we go. So I just pull. The string on this is kind of thin, and I worried a little bit about tangling, but it's actually quite silky. And I've opened all 12 tapes, and none of them had a tangling issue, so that might have just all been in my own mind. But this is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? I was really, really impressed with how pretty the presentation was, especially on these. I'll show you something on some of the smaller ones later, but this was a clamshell, The Great Mouse Detective, Walt Disney, and this one actually got a pretty good grade, 9 and 9. When I look at the IGS website, a lot of the tapes that they're running on their scrolling I don't know what it's called, scrolling banner on their front page, and they're saying they sold for thousands of dollars, which I'm sure they did, but I do not know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But they were showing various IGS graded tapes that had sold for thousands of dollars, and I noticed that the grading was all like 8s and 9s, or 8.5 or 9, or a bunch of 8s. So I think IGS is pretty harsh on the grading. In fact, spoiler alert, I got no 10s, and in fact, this Great Mouse Detective at a 9 and a 9, this is probably the highest rated tape I got that came in. They grade on the condition of the quote unquote box, and also on the edges and corners. Is what they say. So I think that's what the two different grades refer to. This is my clamshell tape that I sent in, and I decided to leave the stickers on. They have a service level, the mid-tier level. They'll take the stickers off if you request it, but this one is sealed under the plastic, this watch, save, and win sticker. But this price tag, I guess they would remove it at the mid-tier level. But I thought, you know, if this is truly for collection, that capturing that price in time and that SKU and everything that was associated with the sealed VHS tape, I thought that it might be important. I don't know if that affected the grading. On their website, they have a Q&A section, and somebody asked the question about whether or not you should remove the stickers, and they got one answer that said, you know, it could be cool to leave them on, and that was it. So again, this idea is still pretty new, this grading of VHS tapes. I know it's not that new. It's been around for a number of years, I'm sure. But it's just kind of catching on and spreading around. So I didn't find too much information on it. But anyway, this is what the case looks like. They've got this IGS. I don't know if that's a sticker or if it's burned in, you know, if it's lasered in. I'm not sure. That's the back. It's completely clear. And then they do put a little holographic, it's hard for me to fit it under my camera, but a little holographic sticker here, and then also on the other end. And that wraps around to the side. I guess maybe it's a tamper-proof seal or something along those lines. That's the bottom of my VHS. Again, kind of hard to see. And that's the side. Oh, I just got a message. Anyway, yeah, so that's my Great Mouse Detective. Came in at a 9 and a 9. I had a couple of other Disney tapes, and as I had said in the introduction, I had gotten these really, really nice VHS tapes from a collector of DVDs, and he just so happened to have some of these VHSs, and I went in and picked them up. These are actually, though, I did not get these from the collector. I just had these. I really had them in my eBay store for sale. And when I looked at them, they looked pretty darn good to me for the age. I've got this Parent Trap and this Old Yeller, and they did actually do quite well, a 9 and an 8.5, and then vice versa on this one. So what does it say up there on the little label? It's got, it says 1991 VHS movie. And you know, that's another difference between this experience and PSA, in that I didn't have to go and find that information. I guess they did the research and they added that there, because all I did was give the name of the movie, and all of this other stuff they've added themselves. So that's really interesting to me. I don't know what this number is. That might be my number in their records, but they do all of this stuff, so that's kind of cool. That's also kind of cool. And then this one, I was kind of regretful when I saw that, you know, I left the sticker on. I gave you my rationale for that already. But these stickers actually are a little bit dirty. I don't know if you can see that smudge on there. So it's kind of sad about trapping that dirt in there forever and ever, I presume. This is the thing I was saying. It's not quite as clean. You know, on the Great Mouse Detective, it didn't have these bars. So I think they put these bars here to make sure that the cases are compatible and like evenly sized with each other. But trapped under these acrylic bars, you can see some air bubbles and just unevenness in the adhesive that they used to put it there. So that, I feel like that mars the visual a little bit, but it's still really, they're really pretty. I didn't think I would like them as much as I do. But there's my Parent Trap, and there's my old Yeller. And again, these are just sealed VHS tapes I just happen to have around, and some lucky person could have bought them from my store up until that middle of the night when I decided I was going to jump on board the VHS train. This is a double tape set, and this didn't fare very well. This was another one I just had sitting around. 8.5 and an 8, which is still not too bad. 1994 VHS movie, My Fair Lady. This is the 30th anniversary collector's edition. So obviously not the first edition. I wouldn't expect this to sell like a first edition, like a really rare tape. But I thought that a My Fair Lady or Audrey Hepburn fan, you know, might be interested in displaying this. So you can see the box is really custom made to fit the various sizes of boxes. So far I submitted a clamshell, I submitted a regular cardboard sleeve, and now this is a cardboard sleeve with 2 tapes in it. And I really love the way the printing from the company is captured there on the cellophane. That's going to be there forever. That's the bottom. So that's My Fair Lady. Not one of the higher scores, but still a nice looking tape. And then next to My Fair Lady in my cabinet, I had this JFK, and this one has this really ugly price tag. But again, I'm like, you know, that's the price tag that was used, so I'm going to leave it on there. This one originally sold for $14.99. It's another 2 tape set. This one only got an 8.5 and an 8 with the you know, Kevin Costner and JFK, Oliver Stone production and all of that. That's the side, special edition, director's cut, Warner Brothers. There's the bottom with all the cool stuff that you can't see because it's out of focus. There we go. And maybe that bottom is what cost this a little bit on the grading. Okay, so this one, 8.5 and an 8. And I have another clamshell. I suppose I should have done this thematically and put this with the Disney movie since it's animated. But this is my Anastasia or Anastasia, however you want to say it. I think in the movie they say Anastasia. Sam's Club sticker. Again, kind of sad that I left that on there because the sticker is actually quite brown and dirty. But still, it's got a 9.5 and a 9. So 9.5 for them is already up in the gem mint category. And I guess this is better than the Great Mouse Detective. This Anastasia and the Great Mouse Detective, I did get those from that collector. So you can see the difference between VHS tapes that have just been sitting in my closet and this collector's, the quality of this collector's items. So there's my Anastasia. I love these little stickers. I think they really capture the you know, the authentic experience of buying a VHS tape in the time of VHS tapes. Let's see. Alrighty. That's enough of that. And then, from that same collector, he actually had 2 different versions of Young Frankenstein. I thought that was cool. I initially thought I would maybe sell them as a lot before I decided to get them graded. Because it's interesting. I think this is, I don't know if this is the right original one. I doubt it because it says special edition, so that means there must have been editions before it. And then this is 20th Century Fox Selections, which means that this was culled. So neither of these are first editions, but I still thought it was cool to have 2 different Young Frankensteins. So this one came in at 8.5 and a 9, and this one got a 9 and a 7.5. Yikes. Let's take a look at their sides. bottoms. There's the other side. And then let's take a look at the back. A Monster Riot. So, I guess I was waiting for the end, but maybe I can talk while you're looking at my tapes. I wanted to talk about the cost. The cost was quite a shock, actually. I don't know how to do math or what I was thinking. Again, it was 3 in the morning, and by the way, I take no mind-altering substances, so this was not a decision caused by chemicals. This was a decision I consciously made, but I was still surprised with the reality of it. Yeah. So at $65 per tape and 12 tapes, the initial cost was $780 that I had to pay up front. Okay. So you go on their website, you pay it up front, and I didn't get a receipt. All I got was a screen that said thank you, and then that was pretty much it. I didn't get an email. I didn't get a receipt. They don't have a membership like PSA, so I couldn't go in to make sure they've received my order, or sorry, that wire was bothering me, or track my order, or see if any grades are in. It was just this whole mystery thing, and then I just had to trust them. I bought a label off of PayPal. I fit all my tapes into one large flat rate box, and with USPS I sent it insured, signature required, so that cost me about $40 to send in a flat rate box. So it was $780 for the 12 tapes just for the grading up front, and it felt like it just disappeared into the middle of nowhere, but I paid with PayPal, so of course I had that electronic trail there. Then I had the $40 that I had to pay for my shipping to them, and they received it 4 days later, so that was nice. And then 120 days later, well, actually more like 45 days later, I wrote and asked where how my order was coming, because on their website they said that you can contact them by email if you had any questions, but you had to wait until after 45 days. Well, after 45 days, I contacted them. I got no reply, so that was spooky. And then about 60 days later, I contacted them again, and with the same message, said I hadn't heard back. And they said, well, you chose the economy tier, which is 120 days, and so I'm not allowed to ask them anything until at least 120 days has gone by. It was a little bit of a rude email. Not bad, but a little rude. I had not realized that the 45 days thing applied to that mid-tier where you're paying for 45 days, and that if you choose economy that you have to wait 120 days. So I waited my 120 days, but before I needed to inquire again, they already sent me an invoice for the return shipping. So I paid $40. I just put slapped them all in a flat rate box and sent them off. They used FedEx signature required by an adult at home service, and the box they sent was huge. I mean huge. It went across the whole back of my car, and it weighed about 30 pounds, I would say 30 to 40 pounds. It was a huge box that they sent FedEx, a priority level or something. Anyway, I guess they don't care because I pay the return shipping. So the bill for that was $209.76, about $210 additional to get the tapes shipped back to me. So that's definitely something to be aware of. All in all, a little over $1,000 for 12 tapes. Okay, so if you're thinking about the money and the cost and thinking about getting into this, if you collect, that this is a really pretty look. And I would recommend IGS as far as the packaging and the look. They really did seem to take care of the tapes. And I think the box and the bag and the other bag and this plastic box and the seal and the label, I like the look of all of it. Really, I do. So if you're interested in collecting, it might be a way for you, way to go for you. For me as a flipper, I realized it was a big mistake, because because I paid, let me check that math again. Oh, probably about $80 a tape overall, with the shipping both ways, the cost of the grading itself. And so that's $80. On top of that, I'm going to have my eBay fees, and on top of that, I'm going to have my income taxes on the sales. So I'm going to put these up for $124.95, you know, somewhere around there, and just hope that I can get that. The $125 price will give me back the $80 I paid for shipping. It'll pay my $20 in eBay fees, and you know, my $20, I'm rounding up, of course, my $20 in additional income tax. And you know, so I'll come out of this with about $5 or $10 in profit. But anyway, that's how it's working out for me. And I'm sure it's because I just sent in this random miscellaneous batch of VHS tapes that I just happened to stumble into. But that's how it goes. Anyway, I have this set of 3. These came from the collector. So again, you can see that reflected in the grading. This got a 9 and a 9. These are the adventures of young Indiana Jones. And I know that Indiana Jones itself, Raiders and all of those guys, they sell pretty well. And so I thought, well, then young Indiana Jones, which is kind of rare, right? Who remembers young Indiana Jones? Not too many. It's put out by Lucasfilm, so it's a good quality tape. I thought I'd take a chance on them, and they were in great condition. So this guy got a 9 and a 9. I feel like this price tag might be folded over, like they could have unfolded it before sealing it, but I could be wrong. That could just be cut off there. This is another young Indiana Jones. Again, it came in at a 9 out of 9. That same collector. This is The Trenches of Hell. Was all sealed up. These are so pretty outside of the box and just as pretty inside the box. I can definitely see someone being proud to display these. And then this guy, I don't know what happened to him. He got a 9 and an 8. Let's see. Let's see if we can see it. Maybe it's this edge up here. I'm not sure. But really pretty, this set, if you're into VHS tape collecting. And then the last one, I'm sure you're ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. The last one is another one that I believe I just had sitting around. This got an 8.5 and a 9.5 up into that gem mint category. So this is a 1992 version of Kiss Me Kate. Which, of course, you know, this Kiss Me Kate was not made in 1992. So this is obviously a re-release. And that's what that guy looks like. So, what's my final word? What's my final verdict on IGS? Well, first of all, I think the same thing that goes with having trading cards, collector cards graded goes for grading VHS tapes. Don't just send in any miscellaneous tape that you have sitting around. You know, you want to choose one that's been well taken care of and well stored. It definitely needs to be sealed. IGS right now, they say on their website, they're not grading anything that is unsealed. So it definitely has to be sealed. It should be well taken care of. And if you want to flip, it should be something that people want. I'm not sure how many Kiss Me Kate fans there are out there who are going to want to pay $125 for this version of the VHS tape. But hopefully there are some. Anything else to say about my experience? I think to sum it up, it was way more expensive than I thought. That would be my first thing. Number 2, the product itself is very nice. It's actually very nice, and it might really be worth $65. Now, the shipping is a whole nother matter, but $65 to have it graded and boxed and preserved. If you have a videotape, maybe a personal family videotape or something like that, I can see spending $65 to have that preserved like this. This is a really, really pretty presentation. So, super expensive, looks nice. Website, I don't know what sound that was I just made, but it was The site looks like it was made, you know, back in the 90s, and we first got computers, and you used every color in the palette and every font you could find. That's what their website looks like. It looks like something out of the the early 90s with like blue font on black background. It's really strange looking. It wasn't that easy to navigate. They don't offer any sort of tracking of your product. So I was not able to see the grades prior to them shipping. I couldn't even see the grades in the box. There was no packing slip included in the box. So I truly had to open each box, pull each tape out of the bags to see what the grades were. So that could be improved. But I know PSA, it took them a number of years to get all of those systems in place. So maybe that's something that's coming up later for IGS. Anyway, that's it. It's been a long one. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you learned something. Until next time, keep on collecting, and I will see you then.